Welcome to another edition of Business in Motion, a program that focuses on business and entrepreneurship from an Afro-centered perspective here on WMEG Radio, Baltimore, Maryland, the number one station in the nation with the dissemination of valuable information with no hesitation or reservation, but a dedication and an obligation to the elevation of your present situation. I'm your host, RGL Biz Coach, and today you're in for a big treat because in the midst of all of the turbulence and chaos, the confusion, everything that's going on in the world today, I know it's very difficult to stay centered so that you can do what is needed to actually make your miracles manifest. However, today, stick around. In the second part of this show, you're going to be given some very powerful techniques, some strategies to center yourself and to be able to make your miracles manifest during these very turbulent times. Stick around. Greetings. Today on Business in Motion, you are going to learn some techniques and strategies that you can utilize to make your dreams, your miracles manifest in the midst of all of the chaos and turbulence that's going on in the world today. Stick around, check out this show.
When you're looking at most religions, their dogma is not, it doesn't go into the esoterics. It only says do these things and you will receive these. Well, the only thing I'm doing right now is telling you from a scientific standpoint. I'm putting that left brain side to it and telling you why the faith works and why when you do the prayers and why you do the cleanse and why you do all these things, why they work. And so that's like part one right there. And so what I want to get into now is the second part of making your dreams manifest, making these things manifest, your miracles manifest during these turbulent times. And see, it is so easy again to be caught off centered. I mean, everybody, I'm guilty. I know that I'm guilty. I'll start looking at things and get caught up into news or this or that or whatever, and I could be thrown and taken off my center. And so I realized, and what I have to do, I have to detach. It's a matter of detaching from that so that I'm not caught up into the hysteria, all of the negativity that happens to be going on around me. And that's what you've got to do, is to detach. And there are numerous reasons, but one thing I want you to understand is, going back to this spiritual teachings that I'm talking about, we have something, or there is what is referred to as a sticky spiritual substance that is called Aka. And Aka, again, what it is, it's what I stated, the sticky spiritual substance. But everything that you touch, if you shake a person's hands, it forms a bond, it connects. And so even when you leave that person, that Aka, that cord is still there. And you can fortify it. This can be fortified and it can be embellished by thinking. Every time you think of that person, that connection that you made becomes more and more fortified. And it can get to the point where you can almost know what that other person is thinking at particular times. Sometimes, or that person, you can think of them, that person can think of you, and your phone will ring or whatever. This is one of the reasons. But what happens, the same thing applies if what you have gotten caught into and you've put in so much time and attention, if it is negative, the same thing applies. And now it's draining you. This Aka creates what's called accord. There's an accord, and even in many Eastern philosophies, they talk about the silver cord. They speak about the silver cord, and they're talking about from your soul, your I am presence, and how this cord, they talk about the light that comes down and basically is coming into your body. And what they're referring to is this light coming down from your I am presence and is basically affecting your pineal gland. You see, that plays a role. But what I'm saying here, again, is with this Aka, which does create the accord. And as I mentioned, it forms a bond. And so what you have to do is to separate. You've got to separate yourself from that. And even I tell people sometimes, picking up money that other people might have dropped or whatever, when you pick it up, you're bringing on a part of that person with you. You're bringing a part of that person's essence into your life. And this is a lot of times I'm just very hesitant about wearing other people's clothing or whatever, simply because of how they are. I don't know. I've got to really know the person to be willing just to put it on and to wear it. And I can tell you what, this was demonstrated very, very clearly. One of the best demonstrations I've ever seen in my life. I'll take it back about 12, 13 years ago, and a real good friend of mine, I just happened to run into him. I think it was at a gas station. I'm like, yo, what's up? What's up? And he said, look, he was getting ready to go to a reading. Well, to be honest with you, I didn't know what a reading was. I didn't know what he was talking about. But he said it was a flower reading. And I said, okay. He said, you should come with me. And I'm like, okay, flower. I got nothing to do. Okay, I'll go with you to a flower reading. First of all, I didn't know he was talking about the plant flour. I thought he was talking about flour that you bake biscuits or bread or whatever with. But then I looked and I saw he had a flower in the back. Okay, now, and I never told him that. I don't know if he was listening to the program, but I never told him that. I didn't know what a reading was, and I definitely didn't know what a flower reading was. But anyway, we went in. This was in D.C. We went to the basement. And in the basement, it's like we're all in line. We're in line, and I was the last person. He was in front of me, and they're going in the door. And then when it got to me, the person said, well, you can't get your reading. And I'm like, I can't get my reading? Well, first of all, I don't know what the reading is. But anyway, I didn't like the idea I couldn't get it done. If everybody else was getting it done. And he said, it's no problem. He just said that he typically doesn't do, but I think 10 or 11. He said, and this person in front of you just made 13 or 14. He said he just would be out of energy. And so he can't do yours. But he said, but you can come in anyway. And I said, okay. And so I had my flower and everything. And so, I just had to hold on to my flower. I couldn't put it down. But the way that this was demonstrated, everybody put their flower on this table, and one flower could not touch another. And then this guru was brought into the room, and he never saw any of us. He didn't see who put what flower down or anything, but he sat down in a chair that was beside the table. And what he was doing, I swear, this was so amazing to me because I'd never seen it done. He would pick up a flower and he would hold it, and then he would start to explain the characteristics of the person who brought the flower and laid it on the table. And again, like I'm saying, I'm seeing this and everybody's just in amazement. They're just totally amazed with how clear and how accurate he was in describing each person in that flower. You see? And so then what happened, okay, I don't know those other people, but I know the person who I went in there with. I know him very good. We were business partners. And so what happened, I'm looking and I'm waiting at him, and he picked that flower up. And I swear, he described this person to a T. He described him to a T. And like I'm saying, if it wasn't for my previous knowledge about ACCA, the accord, and the fact that every time you touch something, that you form this bond with it, and there's sticky spiritual substance still exists, and people can read, they can take from that. All of these things started coming together for me then. Information that I had learned 10, 15 years prior to this event, all of it came right back to me. I said, this is what's up. Now I see, but this is the first time that I have seen it demonstrated with a person who I know he doesn't know, my partner doesn't know. And if he knew him, he don't know what flower he has no idea as to what flower he put down. But to be able to pick up that flower and to read him, and he talked about him, I'm telling you, as if he'd been knowing him for 30 years. That's the way that it was. It was that clear. But anyway, in moving on, my point here is, you have this. What you want to do to keep from being drained is don't put too much focus on the negativity and the hysteria that's going on around you. Just separate yourself. Let go. Just let go. But not only do you let go from that, to make these miracles occur, at this day and time, when we're going through this biophoton belt, what you want to do, anything that's not working for you, you sit down and you make a list of all the things that don't work for you. They haven't been working for you, and get rid of them. Get rid of every one of them out of your life. I don't care if it's a relationship, if it happens, whatever it is. If it ain't working, get rid of it. That's what time it is. That's what time it is. And then what you want to do, once that you've got your plans, you're getting rid of the things that don't work, is now you have to replace them with what you want. You have to start to visualize where you want to be. And this is where I was saying earlier that it's so important to know what it is you do want to manifest. Because if you don't know, well, don't be disappointed when you go in a direction that's not what you want to achieve. You got to know. And so there has to be the dominant picture. And as I mentioned, now hopefully you have a better understanding as to how the divine body and the divine minds all come together to make these things manifest. But that's what you got to do. And then what happens when you find yourself being confronted with situations that can take you off balance and can get you off your center? What you got to do, first of all, there's magic in breath. There's magic in oxygen, in breathing, and taking those deep breaths. So what you got to do when you find yourself being confronted with one of those situations again is you got to make a quick decision. And like, what do you do? Which way do you do? As we've already mentioned, make a decision and then make it right. But what you want to do prior to that is to take that deep breath, to inhale oxygen, bring it in and hold it and exhale. And you might want to do it a couple of times. And then what you do is you ask yourself, just ask, what should I do? What is it, what should I be doing at this particular time? What decision should I be making at this particular time? How do I feel? Either one. How do I feel? And I would say even this is even better. Not so much what you should do, but how do you feel about this situation? And what you do is hush and you focus on your midsection. Your midsection is where the power, this is your solar plexus. Solar, again, means sun. That is your internal sun. That is the sun that is within your temple. And you put your focus there because this is where the energy comes. It comes into your solar plexus area. And don't say a word. You don't have to say anything for about 30 seconds to 45 seconds. And your response, your reaction, what you say has to be based on what you feel at the end of that 30 to 45 seconds after asking the universe, what do you feel about the decision that you have decided to make? There you go. That's what you do. Those are 6 steps right there. And with the last one, what I want to say is then you want to come back and you want to think positive. Once you get the answer about it, what it is you want to do, think positively about it. Don't allow negative thoughts to come in and obstruct what it is you want to make happen. Don't allow that. You got to have confidence in self. You got to have confidence in your ability to make things happen. And if you follow this, you're going to see a drastic change in your life. You will be able to make miracles manifest during these times of turbulence because you will have the formula to be able to disconnect, to maintain your center, and to be able to move forward and allow your dreams to come into existence. Hopefully you have gained something from this lesson here today at A Business in Motion. Right here today is October 31st, the last day of the month. We're getting ready to go into November, but I'll tell you what, it's been a pleasure disseminating this information for you today. Again, don't just listen to this, but take it to heart. If you can go back and listen to this again, and you can go to Business in Motion on YouTube, and this is going to be going up in a few days. You will be able to hear this over and over again because there's a lot of good information. It had to be abbreviated, but a lot of information got poured into this message that you have received here today in Business in Motion. Don't forget, be back next week, same time, 3 o'clock to 5 o'clock, and it's going to be a good show. I'll put it like that. So until next week, I would say, ciao, ciao, adios. I will see you. Have a blessed week. Bye-bye.